Do not go in there. Woo!
Alrighty then.
Doesn't even have a gun.
Yes!
Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? A title fight is brewing. That's right, this season, Eddie Murphy versus Jim Carrey. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me on the line is the second shooter on the grassy knoll, Joe Vekeman.
Hi.
And on the audio boards is Ven Rensselaer reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothamcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is the fresh mints of Bel Air. So good you know you can't afford it. And our special guest this week, Mr. Jeremini, coming back.
Hello.
Fighting neck and neck with Bob Scary to have the most appearances on our podcast.
This is my 7th time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how many does Mr. Scary have?
Yeah, he's in I think it's 7 too. They're in John Goodman SNL host territory.
Hell yeah. Not bad company.
What movie are we doing this week, Joe?
We watched Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
And you know we're in a new era because it's now Jim Carrey and not James Carrey.
James Carrey. Yes.
Why do you think he changed it finally?
More casual.
Okay. What's this movie about, Joe?
A goofy detective specializing in animal goes in search of the missing mascot of the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, this is why we brought a football historian, Mr. Jeremini, to this episode.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I was surprised just how much football was in this.
Yeah. I was almost to say, for those few people who don't know, give us a plot summary, but do young people, know this movie? Is this movie popular anymore?
I don't know. I don't talk to many young people. I'm not part of the young crowd anymore.
You ask your son's friends, hey, you guys watch Ace Ventura? And they're like, we like cars.
4-year-old? If my 4-year-old watches this, I should be, tried, put on trial.
What about you, Mr. Jeremini? Any young people you know familiar with this movie?
I also just know old people.
Yeah, all right.
But I think, certainly when I was young, this movie was in the zeitgeist. People have seen
absolutely.
it, talked about it.
Oh, it's the 30th anniversary.
Hey, look at us, timing it well. Well, Mr. Jeremini, there seems to be a lot of football history within the Dolphins with this kicking thing going badly. Is any of that accurate? Did you look that up? Did you know it?
Yeah, all inaccurate, basically. It's really interesting why this film's almost like an alternate football history film. Because they talk about past NFL seasons as if certain things have happened that don't agree with history.
Okay.
But the closest we're looking at is Super Bowl 25, where the Bills lost by a single point on a kick wide right.
Perhaps it's where the idea... obviously, I imagine when they're writing the script, they don't pick I guess you have to pick... You have to have a short list of teams where animal mascot would make sense, but then you have to hope that the NFL lets you use that team.
Yeah.
Compared to when The Rock played football in the game plan, but they were the
fake teams.
The Boston something.
The Boston Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Something like that. Yeah, that's a really good point, because that shit's hard to do, because
they couldn't even use the word Super Bowl. They were like, we got to go to the big game. The big game's coming up.
The big game in February.
Yeah.
So I have some crazy production notes for you.
Yeah.
The chairman and CEO of Morgan Creek Productions, James G. Robinson, in the early 1990s sought to produce a comedy that would have wide appeal. Good for him. That's a great business strategy. Yeah. Gag writer Tom Shadyac pitched a rewrite of the script to Robinson and was hired as director for what was his directorial debut. Filmmakers first approached Rick Moranis to play Ace Ventura, but Moranis declined the role. Then they considered casting Judd Nelson or Alan Rickman.
All three people What terrible ideas.
Okay, wait. And they also considered changing Ace Ventura to be a female and casting Whoopi Goldberg as the pet detective. I thought you'd love that.
I think she could have worked.
I mean, perhaps. It would have been a very different movie. David Alan Grier also turned down to play Ace Ventura. Ultimately, Robinson noticed Jim Carrey's performance in the sketch comedy show In Living Color and cast him as Ace Ventura.
It is so hard to imagine somebody else doing this. Like, what is that character even at that point?
Well, we could have had Judd Nelson. Giant comedy star Judd Nelson.
Jim Carrey gets a screenplay credit too, so clearly he added a lot of his own mannerisms and ideas to the character. So like what I'd like to see, I guess, what one of these early drafts were like. Like, what was that guy?
I don't know what the early drafts were like, but Carrey helped rewrite the script and filmmakers allowed him to improvise on set. Carrey said of his approach, "I knew this movie was going to be either be something that people really went for or it was going to ruin me completely. From the beginning of my involvement, I said that the character had to be rock and roll. He had to be the 007 of pet detectives. I wanted to be unstoppably ridiculous, and they let me go wild." He said he sought comedic moments that would be unappealing to some. I wanted to keep the action unreal and over the top. When it came time to do my reaction to kissing a man, I wanted it to be the biggest, most obnoxious, homophobic reaction ever recorded. It's so ridiculous it can't be taken seriously, even though it guarantees that somebody's going to be offended. Wow.
Jim Carrey anti-woke in 1994. He was ahead of the times.
Now you know why it's not so popular these days.
But it sounds like he's... I don't know. Is he lampooning homophobia there? Like, are we making fun of Jim there, or are we making fun of the lady cop?
It's
a little unclear what his intention is there. It could go either way. But I guess there's a lot. Like, he's aware.
It had some intention, at least, I guess.
Like he knows it isn't cool even back then.
Yeah.
To have that reaction, so he really went for it.
I guess things were obviously more accepted for being wrong, and we just laughed at things being wrong. But are we recessing back into a time where people are just like, let's laugh at people being hurt?
I don't know.
Do you think we're like going back because people are sick of more comedy that's like accept everybody, don't pick on people's flaws? Or no. I mean, we can delve into that deeper thing when we do the Adam Sandler thing, but also I'm not watching a lot of stand-up these days, other than the occasional time I happen to randomly get Arsenio Hall. And I'm actually not watching a lot of comedy movies either, because they all look so boring, but I don't think they were always boring, even when they weren't woke. So I think I just don't like comedy movies. Well, have you been watching any comedies lately, Mr. Jeremini, movies or shows or whatever?
You know, I saw a film that you mentioned a few podcasts ago. I saw Bottoms, but specifically because it had beast mode in it.
Yeah, that one, but that movie, though, even if it weren't funny, I think could still be entertaining, because I think it's just an interesting story.
It's fun. You're not just funny. It's good. Yeah. It's a fun concept.
Yeah, good film. Wild movie.
Yeah.
I think, like, does it say, did you find out, Joe, where the costume came from? Because I think the costuming for the character is very perfect.
Yeah, let's look into that. Why don't you guys talk while I look into that?
If Jim is creating a lot of this character as they go, having him put his hands on the costuming department seems like it would make charts. Mr. Jeremini, had you seen this movie before?
No, this is the first time I've ever seen it, actually.
What?
I know. Everyone was talking about it when I was young, but I was too busy watching Gettysburg and Zulu.
Wow. Incredible.
What a strange watch in this year of our Lord 2024.
I can't imagine it for the first time.
But what was interesting to me is Ace Ventura and Axel Foley, kind of the same guy. Both hardworking crime fighters, men of the people. They drive a terrible old muscle car.
Yeah. Both having to do work under the noses of the local police force.
Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between those two films.
Yeah, well, outside of the ending, Mr. Jeremini, how did the humor work for you?
Most of the humor worked for me. I think watching Jim Carrey give 200% every scene, a lot of his jokes do hit for me. but it's sort of tiring after a while to stay at that energy level. And
well, it was like there were times when he did take breaks, but those felt odd. Like when he stopped being the cartoon character, it felt like, well, this isn't your person. I don't know, like he feels bad. He gets mean at Courtney Cox right before she gets that phone call, and then he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm so." And I go, "Well, you're just like some dude now. What happened?"
He's like trying to like talk to the dog about how he likes her. Do you remember that? He's like, oh, I like her too.
That one I bought though.
It's a little small moment
because like he's having that moment with the animal. Like that's when he can be vulnerable around the animals.
Mm-hmm.
I really like those moments where he dropped the energy act because they really stand out because he has basically like 3 lines where he talks like a normal actor in the whole film.
I guess that's what's weird. It's not balanced well. Like he does it so little, it feels wrong when he's doing it.
I don't know how true this is, but maybe it's a different version of Ace Ventura. But Adam Sandler turned down the role? Turned it down.
I could see Sandler in this role.
I guess I wouldn't have liked that either. I don't know.
I don't think that would have worked.
This is that. I guess that's how you know Jim has made himself an iconic performance, because I just can't imagine anybody else doing it.
This was apparently going to be conceived as a Rob Schneider vehicle, which that makes sense, but it would be awful.
That would have been a much worse movie. Like, I can't, like, I really did think this movie was written for Jim Carrey. Like, he had the screenplay credit. I go, maybe he was kicking this around so he could relaunch his movie career now that he had some clout from the TV show.
They would have called this Alice Ventura if Whoopi Goldberg had taken the role. There you go. This is a special one for you.
Pretty close. But the fact that, like, so many people went through it and then Jim finally got to make it his is sort of more impressive. that he had to kind of come up with it largely on his own in a short period of time. Do you get to see a lot of football-based mystery movies, Mr. Geremini?
No, I think this is the first one.
Yeah? Do you like the blending of the two genres?
I saw The Last Boy Scout ages ago, and that's got football and mystery in it.
That's fun. Tony Scott movie.
And let's give a shout out to Miami PD actually doing a lot of groundwork in this film. I expected them to just ignore it, but some guy did actually check van rentals and animal rights groups, so it's better than I expected.
Did they ever have a dolphin mascot, or was that made up for this movie?
I don't know. We should do some research on that. It kind of seems like something they'd have, but it seems like a lot of work.
The Devil Rays used to have a tank full of manta rays.
I'm seeing nothing about the costume, which is kind of frustrating.
It's like such a big win for the movie. Nobody wanted to talk about it.
So weird.
In the credits, there are sort of some lines given to the dub versions of these movies, and I kept thinking, wow, this movie, how would this movie play in the dub? Like, who are they bringing in to dub Jim Carrey's role? Like, does that even sell as well?
Well, speaking of something like that, a heavily edited version has aired on Cartoon Network, removing all objectionable language and non-friendly kid scenes.
That's like, a lot of your movie's gone. I don't even know how you do your climax.
25-minute.
How do you end the movie?
Oh, featuring additional footage not seen theatrically.
A secret ending so that they wouldn't... Producers were afraid people would give it away on the crew. So they're like, we'll shoot 2 endings. You won't know which is the real one.
There's a scene in a bar in Ray Finkel's hometown. Ace gets up on stage with the band Cannibal Corpse during the concert and sings. Ace attempts to extract information crucial to locating the bar from a distraught gas station attendant. Ace calls Emilio from the mental hospital, and an elderly resident imitates him. Ace takes Melissa home after they leave the mental hospital, and she kisses him goodnight. Ace visits his hippie friend again and tries to find out a connection between Einhorn and Finkel, looking at their credit report. Also, Ace phones Emilio from the mental hospital to tell him about Finkel and Einhorn. Near the end, Ace commands Snowflake to steal Einhorn's gun. Ace then tries to command Snowflake to give the gun to him, but the dolphin gives it back to Einhorn instead. That's a weird ending.
Dan Marino's in this movie, Mr. Geremini. That's a big part.
And he gets an opening credit.
Yeah. It was in his contract. Well done, Dan Marino's agent.
It's crazy that a pro QB had time to be in a film. And I assume it was done during the off season, and he doesn't have a huge role, but
no, Dan Marino.
It doesn't seem like a day of work here. Yeah.
I bet there's, based on the locations, I bet there's 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. He's at that signing, and he gets tackled by the security guard that steal him, and then he doesn't have to be like really seen in the car too much. And then the end scene, right?
Yeah,
it's just those 2 days.
Yeah, the stuff at you would shoot at the stadium stuff, and then things you could do on a set. Not the strongest actor, Mr. Jeremini.
No.
Oh, you know what? Isn't this? We've seen him before. And he was in Little Nicky.
He was?
Yeah, because he's like in hell, and he's just like, yeah, he's like, he talks to Kevin Nealon, I believe.
Oh, okay.
At the gates.
It's kind of coming back to me. He's like, go long.
I think that's where we see him. It's somewhere in Little Nicky. He's definitely in Little Nicky.
I mean, it fits because Dan Marino does a lot of ads, so...
By then he wouldn't have been playing anymore either.
That is true. He retired in 99, so he was still pretty active and like a top QB at this time.
He's like, oh, what is a movie where we go to the Super Bowl? All right. Yeah, I'll do that. Live out my fantasy.
Yeah, famously, Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl.
Yes, he often gets quoted as the best quarterback to have never won a Super Bowl. Do you agree with this, Mr. Jeremini?
I think that fits. I'm trying to run through losing Super Bowl QBs in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably ones from the way back that might be more deserving, but certainly in recent memory, yeah, Dan Marino stands out. Because he just has so many records, and he's in the Hall of Fame and Super Bowl. It's tough.
The Dolphins just couldn't get it together for him.
I don't know how real this is, because it was announced in March of 2021, but a sequel film was in development at Amazon Studios with the writers of the 2020 film Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, I guess they're used to writing for Jim, so makes sense.
But that was 3 years ago, so who knows if that's
but like if you're doing a Beverly Hills Cop 4, I don't know why you wouldn't do an Ace Ventura 3. Like we're already in that territory.
Yeah.
It's just like, is Jim willing to do this movie, or is he back to crazy mode again? That's your real hang-up.
We have a review from one Roger Ebert.
Roger, Roger, Roger. Roger, 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 Roger. R-O-G-E-R. R-O-G-E-R.
Yeah, I bet he hated this one.
Roger Ebert, reviewing for the Chicago Sun-Times, said, I found the movie a long, unfunny slog through an impenetrable plot. Ebert described the lead role. Carrey plays Ace as if he's being clocked on an energy-o-meter and paid by the calories expended. This guy, we love him. He's a great writer.
This is only 86 minutes.
I know, that's why it's just like it's over long. He's a hyper-goon who likes to screw his mouth into strange shapes while playing variations on the language. Incredible. Wish we still had him.
How many stars did he award?
Probably like 1. It's not listed, but I'm assuming 1. That sounds like a 1-star review. This movie was budgeted at $15 million. I believe Carrey was paid scale at the time because he was kind of like a nobody. And he was like accepting it, and then he
was like ninth choice
after a lot of people that were not even like what Sandler had made Airheads at that point and going overboard, and he's like, nah, I don't want it. Not for me.
He's like, I'm doing this Billy Madison thing. It's gonna be better.
That was the next year.
Well, he's gonna make it.
Yeah, I know. Well, this would have been made in like '93. Yeah,
Courtney Cox doesn't cost anything yet because when you're shooting this, Friends isn't even on.
Yeah, crazy.
You're just paying the NFL a lot of money to use the paraphernalia. And you got a lot of animal wranglers.
The biggest star besides, like, I guess Dan Marino as a football star is Sean Young, because she was in Blade Runner and No Way Out.
Alan Rickman. Like, I don't know why anyone's even thinking of that. I don't know why that's where anybody's mind goes.
Rick Moranis was basically retired at this point.
But also, this isn't his kind of humor anyway.
Oh, I know. This is a completely different movie with any of those choices.
Yeah, I know. What must that script have looked like?
Yeah, and then, like we said, Carrey did a lot of improvising, so...
You know, a project consultant on this film, Joe, Steve Odekirk.
Oh, I saw. His buddy from High Anxiety. Other actresses considered for the role of Melissa Robinson were Carrey, Ann Moss, and Téa Leoni. Interesting.
The character's nothing, so like whatever.
Yes, very true.
You know, it doesn't matter.
Pet detectives really do exist. Tom Shadyac did research on this before going on to work on the film. He stated, "We're trying to establish a touch of credibility in this insane world we've created. Evidently, pet detectives really do find their profession to be very technical and science-based. Kind of like a barista." That's a quote from Tom Shadyac.
Just the lightest touch of reality.
Oh, I'm glad I did some research here. It was feeling a little ungrounded, but I'm glad he's on the roof chasing after this bird. That feels like what a real pet detective would do.
Actor-director Daniel Stern, most famous for his role of Marv in the Home Alone series and Phil in City Slickers, was originally asked to direct this film. He turned it down in order to reprise his role of City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't regret that at all.
Oh, I just scrolled past, your grassy knoll joke, which was used in the movie.
Yes, that's why I did it, Joe.
I get it now.
You got it now? Okay.
I finally got it. I watched this movie like 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
I forgot that grassy knoll joke, sorry. Let's see here.
What other thing stood out to you, Mr. Jeremini?
That, The Lion Sleeps Tonight music drop, perfect comedy.
Oh, but it's the same year as The Lion King, which also uses it.
Double perfect comedy.
They got it in before, because this came out in February and The Lion King came out in summer.
Everybody's just like, Lion King, why are you copying Ace Ventura?
I mean, maybe. This movie was huge.
That is neat to know, because I thought that song, was written for The Lion King. It would make sense, wouldn't it?
It does. It would make sense. Who else would be singing that song?
I just, like, why?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as a child growing up in the 90s, these were the two movies I heard it in.
Yeah.
That's where the origin was for me.
So Mr. Ebert calls this plot impenetrable. Was the mystery hard for you to track, Mr. Jeremini?
No, not really. I do think the Einhorn as Ray Finkel right at the end should have been set up a little more. But I was following the plot pretty well, I felt.
Jim Carrey came up with the idea of ripping off Sean Young's clothes to reveal her in her bra and underwear in the end. Great improv, Jim. Great improv.
Did he not tell that to the actress?
It's not assault at all. It's not assault at all. What the fuck? God damn it. The movie's been criticized heavily by the LGBTQ plus community because of the way they portray.
Yeah, we know why.
Transgender people, but it's just like it is disgusting how it is portrayed, and it's just like it is absolutely just like a punchline the entire time, and it's not given any thought, and it's like, yep, that's what they did. They didn't, but that's just what they did. No thought. Whatever. Right? It's fucking awful. Anyways, that's why it makes this movie hard to talk about now. And I can see why a generation would want to forget about it.
Why we might not have a number 3.
Well, I mean, the second one I think kind of doesn't go in that joke territory at all. So I think they go for entire more racist territory. We'll see. I've never seen it though.
I saw these were both played on Comedy Central. This one played more though, so I remembered this one better.
Yeah.
I remember some things from the second one. I don't even remember how it ends or what the mystery is, though. I know he crawls out of a rhino's ass at some point. That's all I know. It's the only thing I've seen.
That's your defining memory of the second film?
That is absolutely defining memory. So yeah, Ace Ventura, 15 million, made 107 million.
Well, obviously, he's a big star now.
Yep.
Is this his big break? I haven't been paying attention to the budgets on the previous.
Absolutely, this is the biggest thing he's ever done, and he is also at this time finishing up making The Mask, which is coming out in 5 months.
Oh wow, that's okay. I would have thought this led to that, since they're such a similar kind of style.
Yeah, this comes out in February, right before Valentine's Day, and The Mask comes out, I believe, either early June, maybe July.
You're in a tough spot there because, Ebert and Mr. Jeremini have said, Jim Carrey's full on the whole time, and now you're going to have a second movie where you're full on 90% of the time. You think we might get tired of the shtick pretty quickly?
America was not tired of Jim Carrey in 1994. Let me tell you that. I just saw what The Mask made worldwide. Yeah, and domestically, holy shit.
Okay, so we've gotten to Jim Carrey's Trading Places of sorts. It only took...
I think Jim Carrey has blown Trading Places out of the water.
It only took 12 years, but he finally got his big hit break in Hollywood, too.
This is his year, and this is funny because with Eddie Murphy's next movie, he goes back to the well for a third time with Beverly Hills Cop, and it is... we'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
But
all right.
I've never seen it.
Does it also have transgendered characters in there?
I hope not. Well, in the sense that they'll just be punchlines. That's the only reason why I hope not. Yeah.
I don't think you're doing anything with them in 1994 if they're not. Or they're like serial killers. Like, that's kind of...
Yeah, that's what
you get to do.
Was, I guess, kind of cribbing from Silence of the Lambs at that point.
Does Silence of the Lambs get flack for that now? Because I feel like people don't bitch about that like they do Ace Ventura. Not that I'm using bitch pejoratively.
Well, it's not like it's not like it's a punchline, but it's more of like it's just a shitty way to portray transgender people, like as just either criminals or punchlines. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, there is treated like a mental illness, more so than the criminal aspect of it. But we'll save that for the Anthony Hopkins season.
Hey, now that's going to be a weird season.
What the hell happened to them? He's still good, actually. You know, he
90-something years old.
Takes his paycheck movies to do Thor, but whatever.
It's a lot of Thor. I think it's only Thor movies, though. I don't think he crossed over anywhere else.
How does this rank, Mr. Germini, with other football comedies that you've seen?
I don't think I've seen a lot of other football comedies, so it
Are
might
you
be
saying
number
you haven't
one.
seen The Replacements?
No, I haven't seen The Replacements.
I
haven't seen Waterboy.
Oh, yeah, The Waterboy.
The George Clooney directed Leatherheads.
This might be default number one, unfortunately.
Oh, The Longest Yard. We've covered 2 of them.
We got both Longest Yards. The Game Plan. We've watched a lot of football movies for this show. Where does this rank in our football movie watches?
Well, nothing touches The Waterboy. That's
you can't
like
beat The Waterboy. That's
like on a mountain that no one else can touch.
Yeah.
This is probably in the same like part of the pyramid with The Longest Yard, because that's also got a lot of like
problematic things,
gay jokes in it.
Is this a football comedy though? I mean, football is sort of ancillary.
I mean, there's football and it's a comedy.
That is true, but it's football as setting, not really as driving plot point.
That's very true.
The playing of the game, no, but facilitating other people playing the game, yes. What makes a football comedy? These are the deep questions that we'll ponder. If you have any thoughts, you can email the cast at whathappenedtothem@gmail.com.
Oh, did we get any emails today?
No emails today.
Oh, damn. We've had some good ones recently.
Lev would have pushed the email button if we got some emails. I like 3/4 or 2 acts of the movie I enjoy. So I guess this would be number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I love the opening where he's just playing the delivery guy, just beating the shit out of the box.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Accurate representation.
And I like that his windshield stays broken for the whole movie.
Yes.
After setting it up in the first
Good continuity.
Scene. That could have been someone they're like, he fixed it. It's fine. I like the character having that broken windshield and having to work around that. And those are the type of humor that I like Jim Carrey doing. This kind of weird, quirky. Sometimes, like Mr. Germany says, it gets a little grating, but I'd rather this than whatever the hell was going on in Once Bitten.
Yeah, I love Mr. Germany's accurate reading of he walked into the room at 200% every time.
Can we talk about that scene where like 50 animals show up in his apartment?
Also fun because they're all real.
Like, what a hassle that must have been to set up.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, imagine that movie made today. There'd be no animals really there.
All CG'd in.
Yeah.
That makes me sad. But yeah, I mean, at least the animals were hopefully taken care of properly, and we'll just hope that's the case. No animals were harmed, hopefully.
The penguins had their own fridge, so
yeah,
they were okay.
It was like Evangelion.
I don't understand that reference.
Yes, that's not for you. That's for Mr. Jeremini.
I know. I've heard that title so many times.
That's a joke for 1% of our audience.
That show,
I don't think that's 1%.
That's a big deal show. Is it? Do the anime fans not know that show anymore?
No, I think that's a big one.
Should you told me, Mr. Jeremini, that the kids these days, they think Cowboy Bebop is mid. Has this been your experience?
Wow.
Yeah.
Kids these days are wrong. The past generation is in trouble.
Do the kids think that Evangelion's mid? Because it used to be called, like, the best anime of all time. Which is a little strong, but, like, that's just, like, how big it was.
Yeah, I know anime is certainly more popular with the young crowd nowadays. I can't imagine Evangelion being very big amongst them. Just because it's so kind of weird.
It's very weird.
I feel like there's so many more popular animes nowadays that...
It's not about being trapped in a video game. It's not One Piece. It's not an anime with a ridiculously long, overly descriptive title. So, of course, the kids don't like it.
And I mean, I'm not a huge Eva fan myself, so I'm not going to carry a lot of water for it.
I will. It's like the indie film movement took over anime in 1995, and it was great.
Oh.
All right. Well, I won't bitch.
What a tangent.
I'll stop yelling at the cloud now. You have any other notes, Mr. Jeremini, before we go to our last looks? Ace
eats a giant cookie with no plate, which is like a big no-no in my house.
What a great observation.
You're just going to get crumbs everywhere.
He doesn't get splashed with water, Mr. Jeremini, but he does fall in a large pool of it. Does that get close to scratching that itch for you?
You know, that does move the dial a little bit for me. It's not the same as just getting dumped with water, but, you know, any port in a storm.
It's like a reverse dumping. The water gets dumped with Ace.
They do the Mission Impossible theme 2 years before Brian De Palma revived it.
Yes, people forget it's a TV show first, everybody.
Yeah, from like, what, 30 or 40 years ago at that point?
Yeah. But that was the era when they were doing all those 60 shows getting remade. Flipper, relevant movie, got remade. Leave It to Beaver, my favorite Martian.
Wow.
Which was about to happen. 2 Brady Bunch movies, obviously.
Oh, yeah, your favorite.
My favorites.
I'll watch those Brady Bunch movies. I'll see how they are.
All right. Any other thoughts, Mr. Jeremini, or is the cookie what you wanted to go out on?
That's what I wanted to go out on. I'd say...
Not bad.
You know, good film. Under 90 minutes, you're in and you're out.
It was like 81 minutes long.
Yeah, you know, once you take out the credits.
Yeah.
I think some of the jokes don't really age well, but, you know, appreciate what's funny and, you know, bemoan what's not.
Well, like when Beverly Hills Cop, since we made that comparison earlier, like does its plot points, it largely leaves the comedy behind. It's like they're sort of 2 separate sides of the movie. But this one, like when he's giving the clue of this like glass-proof door or soundproof door, he's delivering it in this humorous kind of anti-establishment way. So they did merge their plot and humor together in a lot better and more seamless of a manner.
That's one of my favorite jokes in the movie.
But then it's also like a cool moment where you're like, oh, this goofball does know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Even Courtney Cox thinks it's cool.
Do you know what another one of my favorite moments was?
What?
When he talks to Tone Loc with his ass cheeks. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, a lot of my friends definitely enjoyed that one growing up as well. We certainly talk with our butts to each other a bit.
Should we all try to give our best alrighty thens?
Yeah, we can go out on that for our last looks. Mr. Jeremini, you're our guest. You can go first.
Alrighty then.
All right, Joe, what do you got?
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice.
He's a professional actor there.
I got that Jim face and body, so like my diaphragm's already there where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You saying the height gives you more Jim Carrey energy?
I think like it's in there, you know?
He's definitely a tall man.
Yeah.
Have we ever talked about how tall he was?
Probably not specifically.
I'm gonna see the height right now. What's the height?
Well, you look up the height. Is now the time to talk about football?
Football around the world?
Yeah.
Football round the world.
Pat, you're taller than him. You're taller than him.
I love that.
He's 6'2".
Mr. Germini, after we went to our Boston Renegades game to see them dominate the Divas, the DC Divas, I did not see how that season ended. It didn't look like it was going to go well, though. Did the Renegades pull off a 7th time or 8th time in a row?
We did go to the playoffs, but sadly, we lost the championship by a single field goal. 30-27.
You know, we don't have Allison Cahill anymore, so it was bound to happen. The offense was looking sort of shaky in that game I saw anyway. Who did they lose to?
I don't have that in my notes.
What about the European Football League?
Sad to report, the Hamburg Sea Devils have completed a woeful season, finishing at 2-10. Obviously, no playoffs for them.
Yes.
Pretty much in line with their last terrible season. Gonna need some big changes in Hamburg.
Yeah, after 2 very strong opening seasons, just been malaise there forever. It's the Jimmy Carter era of the Hamburg Sea Devils.
Which is a good segue to my Watergate update.
Watergate, Watergate, oh, Watergate.
Watch.
Yeah, ooh, whoa.
This is incredible.
Last time I was on the podcast, you remember me mentioning, comedically, Watergate Bridge, the Chinese film.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that was a sequel to The Battle of Lake Changjin. So I saw that film and Watergate Bridge, which is the sequel. And I can report neither of them are about Watergate.
No Richard Nixon hanging out in the background.
No, and they're not very good movies. And they're also very long.
Okay.
Time well spent.
6 hours well spent for this joke.
Oh my god.
Well, that's still less than Washington: Behind Closed Doors, so.
I will never find that time again to have that time for a fucking joke. I love my kids. You
just gotta watch it in chunks, Joe. Gotta watch it in chunks. USFL and the XFL are merging, Mr. Germini?
Well, they did merge. They're the UFL, and they completed their first season this summer.
Oh, Jesus. I've missed it all. Oh, it's the summer now. That's why.
And the Battlehawks did get to the championship, but they were defeated by the Michigan Panthers, so.
It's been a rough year for the what the hell happened to them teams of choice.
Yes.
And then regular football starting now.
Regular football is starting this week.
All right. Well, a lot of football to look forward to, everybody. There's some football updates. Any last looks, Joe?
Wait.
Oh, wait. There's
I have
more.
a correction to issue.
Okay.
It was the Birmingham Stallions we lost to, not the Michigan Panthers.
What, again?
Yes, those Birmingham Stallions are...
The fix is in. The fix is in.
The fix is in.
Do they only play in Alabama still?
No, they did go to a couple different stadiums.
All right. Still suspicious. You've added 8 new teams and you're still the dominant team. But NFL, just steal those players. For the love of God.
Actually, my memory is all wrong. The Battlehawks went to the playoffs, but they lost to the Brahmas, and the Brahmas went to the championship game to lose to the Stallions.
That's how you know, Joe.
That's why I should take notes.
The football team is in a league partly owned by The Rock, when one of their teams is called
Brahmas.
The Brahmas.
Yeah, the Brahma Bulls.
Yeah. All right. What do you got,
Very
Joe?
Good. Last looks. Jim, excellent work here. Let's hope your next comedy is less transphobic.
More family friendly.
Yes. Well, I don't think it is, but we'll see. I think there's a lot of gun action in that movie. I mean, he's just going for the entire 1999 thing.
Sure. All right. Why does Jim Carrey do this movie? Well, because he wants to be a movie star, and he gets to have a lot of creative control over the character and the humor type. And
it was a very smart business choice.
It certainly paid off. He could have just been stuck in weird. I don't know. Outside of sketch shows, I'm not sure what you do with Jim Carrey in TV for the long term anyway. So it was good to pivot, I suppose. Well, they were going to cancel In Living Color shortly anyway, because network tinkering. Surprise, surprise. Makes sense to me. All right, well, thanks, Mr. Germini, for joining us this week.
Anytime, and certainly anytime, to beat Mr. Scary.
Yeah. And thanks to Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping the sound so slippery smooth. Thanks to Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
Oh, thank you.
I am your host, Patrick Scale. You can find my features, documentary, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably with a similar-sounding name. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
They call him Flipper, Flipper, faster than lightning. No one you see is smarter than he. And we know Flipper lives in a world.
I don't understand this.
You just click.
I can see the download button. I hit the download button, and now I'm brought to a website where I can download something. I was clicking the 32-bit thing, like I did last time. Now it's downloading.
Okay, well,
it didn't do that yesterday.
Sure, Joe.
Or 2 days ago, whenever I was trying to do this.
Isn't this the life, Mr. Jeremini? Anytime you have a tech problem, you get tech support on, it doesn't show
Constantly.
up anymore? No.
This file is done. Okay, no, you know what? I did this. So now it comes up with, this file is designed for a PC using Windows software. This is not compatible with your device, which runs Chrome OS. Learn more about opening files on Chrome OS.
Oh.
So there's got to be like a Zoom Chrome OS version.
I hope so.
We won't be able to see your face.
By installing the Zoom Progressive Web application.
There's no chat on Clean Feeds?
You can find that on the Google Play Store. Or you can find it by searching for Zoom PWA or Zoom for Chrome PWA.
Okay, I got it. I'm installing whatever this is.
Just a Zoom that works on the Chrome operating system.
6491, installing. Aha! Billerica, Massachusetts. I guess that's where this came from.
Bill Ricka, you fool.
Billerica?
Bill Ricka.
Sorry.
I don't blame you.
Shut up.
It's how it looks. I get it.
Classic Massachusetts Sibboleth.
Worcester.
Worcester? Alright, I think I'm getting in here. Hold on. Okay, how do I find you now? I'm on Zoom thingy.
Where are you?
Stop it! I can't find you!
I'm lost in the cloud!
It was the roast beef! Oh, I couldn't stop going to the bathroom!
Once again, our podcast was defeated by technology.
Shut up. Oh, hold on. I might have it. Oh! Found it!
Okay, what did you find? Where did we leave off with you?
I got back into my movie dude Gmail thing that I was using before, so I just gotta... 1 second.
It's happening.
Code 40.
I always knew you had it in you, Joe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, now I'm into the one I was always in. Do you see me online now?
No, I got rid of that contact. You said you couldn't access it anymore.
I did, though. I did access it.
Okay, well, I have sent your
SF on.
I have sent your Gmail a new invitation to be my contact.
Which Gmail, though?
Movie Dude 4444.
That's the one I'm in.
Oh, you know what? I didn't have enough fours in there.
Oh, so it wasn't me.
I'm doing it again.
Our podcast is defeated by technology. There's 4 4s.
I've got them in there. All right.
Okay.
I've sent you one.
Oh, I found you.
Great.
Ready to get started? Yeah. Oh, wait. I shouldn't do it on here.
Oh, my God.
I was doing it on my phone. Oh, I found you.
You already said that.
Because I was doing it on my phone. Launch Zoom.
All right. I am now meeting with video.
We're joining a meeting. I'm going to see you.
You will.
Join audio by computer.
There we go.
Sure.
Okay, you're there.
There you are. We did it.
Our long national nightmare is over.
We did. Look, I like the setup.
Okay.
It's not a dark room anymore.
It wasn't a dark room. I had to put up a big cloth around me.
Well, it looked like a dark room when you did that.
I don't have to do that now. Okay.
All right.
Let's get 30 seconds for room tone, and then we'll finally do this.
This may be a statement that irrevocably ruins our friendship.
Uh-oh.
What?
I saw both Rebel Moon films recently, and I loved both of them.
Oh, man.
The first one is 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
I loved every minute of it. And the second one is almost 3 hours, and I loved 2 hours and 40 or so minutes of it.
Oh, wow. But wait, did you watch the director's cuts? Is that why?
Yes. The film came out, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited to see this film. And then I heard the director cuts were coming out, and I was like, I'm going to wait just for the cuts.
And the wait was worth it.
Well, I didn't see the first one, so it's hard to judge. Right, I didn't see the non-director cuts, yeah. I loved it. And I recently saw Seven Samurai, so I could compare them. And Seven Samurai is good. It's certainly the better film.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. I thought we were going off a cliff for a second.
But I loved Rebel Moon.
I am due for a rewatch of Seven Samurai because I want to go through my Kurosawa soon.
Well, talk about not having time, Joe. You got 3.5 hours?
No,
Watched over multiple nights.
I feel like I could get Julian to watch like maybe 20 minutes of it with me. So.
That one has like an intermission, I think, right, Mr. Jeremini? So you could.
I don't remember.
No, it has like a little stopping point.
I watched it like 8 or 9 years ago, and I was just kind of like floored. And I was able to watch it all in one sitting.
Look, I'm going to say Seven Samurai is too long. There's some plots you could drop. Like the thing about the guy's wife, I would just drop that plot.
I'm all in once it's
Seven
going
Samurai,
on.
too long. 7 hours of Rebel Moon, okay.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I didn't watch both movies the same night. I split it up.
One 6 hours later. Little nap in between. No, I'm interested. I've seen all the other Schneiders up until that point. I expect I'll someday watch it in increments of 10 or 15 minutes. Just like how Pat watched The Irishman.
Yeah, that was how I could get through that. I did rewatch it straight through the second time for the Watergate stuff, but it didn't help it.
Oh, fuck you. That's a great movie. The only real problem with that movie is the god-awful CGI that is never going to age well, and it's whatever.
Speaking of aggressively long director's cuts, Apple informed me this week that Napoleon's coming out, and I was like, "What way to come out in a timely manner?"
How long is the Apple cut?
Like 4 hours.
I'll shout him out right now if we're still recording, because I just got my review when I originally saw Napoleon was hoping we get to see Ridley's extended cut, and then Dimitri commented 10 hours ago, "Bro, no you don't."
It's nice of him to call you back 10 months later.
I know, right? It's good stuff. I liked Napoleon when I saw it. I didn't think it was the best film, but I liked it.
Didn't like it one bit.
I like that Joaquin Phoenix, even though he's kind of a shithead right now.
The movie just, I don't know. If it had picked a lane, I think it would have been an interesting character study. They just went in weird, I don't know, they tried to do too much, I think.
So, do you know who did a script polish on it?
Jim Carrey.
Paul Thomas Anderson is rumored to have done a script polish on it.
I don't know. He could be there and being like, hey, maybe you should only do this or this, but not both. And they could be like, no, make it work. Like, that's not really a polisher's job. It's just to clean up some things. Having done a number of those myself, there are many times when I would like to make heavy plot changes, but I'm not allowed to. It really just makes the polishing job harder, because I'm like, I don't know how to make this sound good, because it doesn't make any sense. You won't let me change the thing that doesn't make sense. I don't know how to make this make sense now.